So we do have some late-breaking news out of Flint, Michigan tonight. At a hastily called press conference this evening, the mayor of Flint was joined by federal and state health officials who were all there. Again, this had not been a previously scheduled press conference. They convened this at the last moment to announce results from the latest tests of drinking water around the city of Flint. These were tests of homes in Flint. And the results, which they apparently the testing was completed yesterday. They convened this press conference to announce tonight that the results of this testing in Flint homes now is still showing extremely high lead levels in a number of homes in the city. These are results that just came in. These are not historical levels of lead. These are lead levels right now, from 3 months after Flint stopped using the Flint River as its water source, 3 months after new corrosion controls were put in place that were supposed to start making Flint's pipes safe again. The lead levels at some homes just tested, they just announced tonight, were coming in at over 150 parts per billion. Now, the EPA threshold for mandatory action is 15 parts per billion. That means homes in Flint right now are testing at 10 times the EPA limit. The other reason this news is so important is that the filters that are being handed out in Flint that all residents are being urged to use on their taps, those filters are only certified to remove lead up to 150 parts per billion. Filters are rated and certified by an organization called NSF, which originally stood for National Sanitation Foundation. And when it comes to the filters being distributed in Flint, the NSF says they're only guaranteed to remove lead from water up to 150 parts per billion. Above that level, even if you're drinking through the filter, there's no guarantees that you are safe. And again, a number of these test results today from homes in Flint right now were way above 150 parts per billion.
What's the highest reading you found?
I don't know the exact number, but it was at least 4,000.
And the tests that you're telling us about today that registered over 150, I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Those were all collected during what period of time?
Oh, since the last week of December.
Hear that long pause there after the EPA official. The EPA official is asked, what's the highest lead level you found in testing Flint homes? He says, at least 4,000 parts per billion. Again, remember, the EPA threshold for sounding the alarm for mandatory action is 15 parts per billion. They're finding levels in Flint now of 4,000. And this is testing done since the last week of December. And so tonight, these federal and state officials told Flint residents, standing with the Flint mayor, told Flint residents that even if they've got a filter, unless they've had their water tested and they know that their lead level is under 150 parts per billion, they're now saying that pregnant women and children under the age of 6 should in no circumstances drink any water out of the tap, even if it has a filter. Oh, now you tell us. They also urged all Flint residents to get their water tested. And to do that, they said, conveniently, you just need to go to one of the 5 fire stations distributing lead testing kits. Then you bring that sample collecting thing back to your house and you get a sample, and then you need to take that sample back to the firehouse, and then you wait a few days. Right now there's a 3-day backlog on the testing, and if your lead levels are super high, someone will then call you to arrange further testing. Governor Rick Snyder put out a statement tonight after these very alarming test results came in, showing that the lead poisoning situation in Flint is still very bad and it's not magically healing itself. Governor Snyder put out a statement tonight that says this, quote, "It is essential that all Flint residents have the water in their homes tested as soon as possible. Please make it a priority for your family. Please make it a priority for your family." Or, Governor Snyder, you could make it a priority for your administration. And instead of asking people to go to the fire station and pick up a lead testing kit and bring it home and do the lead testing sampling at your house, and then go back to the fire station with your sampling kit and have them test it, and then somebody might call you within 3 days and then they can arrange further testing. Instead, since you did declare this an emergency, you could make it a priority to go door to door and take lead samples from every occupied home in the city. You could. Not everybody in Flint has easy access to get down to the fire station and get this stuff done and make it a priority for their family the way that you want them to. Just this morning, Governor Rick Snyder said he hoped the water could be safe to drink in Flint in 2 to 3 months. He hopes the treatment they have added to the water, the corrosion control they've added to the water for the last 3 months, he said he hopes it has already mostly recoated the pipes to keep them from leaching lead. Clearly from this testing results that we've got tonight, we know at least in some parts of Flint that is not true. Today, Governor Snyder was asked again how much his administration knew about the growing water crisis in Flint over the last 18 months. Emails surfaced yesterday showing that a year ago, state workers in Flint got bottled water shipped to them by the state because of concerns about Flint's tap water, even as state officials were assuring Flint residents that the tap water was safe. Asked this morning about the clean, safe, purified water they made sure to give state workers, even as they were telling people who lived in Flint that they should keep drinking from the tap, Governor Snyder said that he had, quote, no knowledge of that taking place. A Snyder spokesperson told the Associated Press today that that fresh, purified, bottled water that they shipped into the state office building in Flint, that, at least conceivably, could have been drunk both by employees and by local residents. The Snyder administration said they didn't know whether workers at that state office had promoted the water that they had in their offices as available to other people to drink. But as the AP put it, quote, no signs prohibited the public from drinking water from the cooler. So that was the plan, maybe. Maybe Flint residents will find their way into the state office building in Flint and find their way to the cubicle farms and then find their way to the corner where the purified water has been provided by the Snyder administration for people who work in that building, but not for anybody who lives in Flint. And maybe that's how Flint residents will get clean water shipped to them by the state that fouled their water and turned it poisonous. People just find it in the office building. Snyder administration confirmed for us today that that bottled water delivery to their state office building in Flint, it continues to this day. So maybe if you are having trouble getting clean water in Flint, you should just carry a big jug down to the state office building and ask if you can fill it up there. That's the only hot water they're actually shipping regularly into any facility in Flint. Other than the fire stations where you can go down and pick it up if you have a car, or you can catch a ride and you can pick up your one case that's allotted to you every day if you can go pick it up yourself. But hey, you know, Rick Snyder says he had no idea state workers were getting safe water so they wouldn't have to drink the stuff in Flint. He has no idea. There's a lot of things that Governor Rick Snyder claims to have had no idea about over the last 18 months, from the rising levels of lead in Flint water to the rising level of lead in children's bodies in Flint to the warnings about the high lead from the EPA. He says he had no idea about any of that. It would be nice if we could really fully investigate what Rick Snyder actually knew, and when he knew it, it would be great if we could see, for instance, emails and documents from him and his staff in 2013 when this decision was made to use the corrosive Flint River as Flint's water source without treating it properly so it wouldn't lead poison the town. We don't have access to any of that information. We have asked Governor Snyder to release those 2013 emails. He hasn't released any of them. Now, at least, though, somebody else is asking, the United States Congress. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee wrote to Rick Snyder today asking him for, quote, all documents relating to the drinking water supply in Flint, including the decision to switch Flint's source of water and including emails sent to or received by you or members of your staff. If Rick Snyder declines to provide this material to this congressional investigating committee, the Democrats on that committee say they could ask the Republican leadership of the committee to subpoena those documents from Rick Snyder. And the Republicans on that committee would have to decide if they want to give Rick Snyder a subpoena or not. In asking for these documents, Democrats in Congress are calling a very interesting question. First, for Governor Snyder, and if he doesn't answer, then for Republicans in Congress. Does the public get to see what Governor Snyder knew? Does the public get to see how this happened? And meanwhile, in Flint, this crisis is not getting better. Attention is not the same as fixing it. People talking about it at the national level, national news coverage, doesn't mean that the lead levels are going down. With this news tonight of super high lead levels in a number of homes in Flint, lead levels that far and away exceed the amount of lead that filters are certified to protect you from, it is yet further information that we seem like we're getting every day that this isn't over. And maybe this is just how this story goes for a while. Maybe there are just going to be really high levels of lead in Flint. But if you are living there and drinking this water, if you've been using a filter to protect your family, then news that that filter might not work for the amount of lead you've got in your water is going to be very scary news indeed. Joining us now is Hank Winchester. He's a reporter with WDIV, which is the NBC station in Detroit. Hank, it was good to meet you when I was in Flint this week. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's nice to see you.
Thank you, Rachel. Great to see you.
So it seemed to us here that this announcement tonight was unplanned. This was not a press conference we planned all day to be covering. This didn't seem like a regularly scheduled thing. Did you have much warning at all that they were going to convene this press conference tonight to announce these new test results?
We had about 15 minutes. In fact, we got the email notice, and then we were in our live truck in downtown Flint, and the team from Washington stopped at the truck, banged on the door, and said, "Hey, just want to make sure, Hank, that you know about the press conference." So we packed up and we got to City Hall rather quickly.
And in terms of what was announced there, basically what they're saying is we're doing testing now. This is not historical testing. This is testing now. A number of homes in Flint are testing over 150 parts per billion. That's 10 times the EPA standard, and that's above what these filters are certified to be able to handle. We've been telling everybody to drink filtered water. The consequence of that is that filters aren't enough, that if you haven't had the lead levels in your water in your house tested, don't trust the filter. Only use bottled water. That's new advice to the people of Flint, isn't it?
It is, and it's very concerning, especially in the cases that you mentioned. We heard from the official during that press conference, one home testing 4,000 parts per billion. Now, remember, after 150, the filter is basically obsolete. So now you're telling the people, do not drink the water coming out of the filter, especially if you're pregnant, if you're a small child. What I did appreciate today, and what I'm sure you appreciated also, was how quickly the information got to the people.
Yes.
This is not a case where emails were being exchanged for months and meetings were taking place and different test results were coming in. These numbers came in late yesterday. They looked at them today. They got with Dr. Mona, who I know you know well. They got with the mayor and the team on the ground, and they worked to get that information out to the media and to the public as quickly as they could.
And at the start of that press conference, Karen Weaver, the mayor of Flint, comes out, and you can tell, actually, you can tell she's under the weather. She's sick herself, and she came out and said, one of the things I committed to as mayor is making sure that you know everything I know, that people of Flint have access to all the information that I have access to, and that's why we have hastily convened this announcement to let you know. They've also, I should tell you, published the Excel spreadsheet showing the results of all of those individual tests, including the street addresses of individual homes, and what the lead and copper ratings are for tests in each of those places. Hank, one of the things that I saw in Flint, and one of the things I've been hearing from people consistently, is that a lot of people, even though they know they should have filters on, a lot of people still don't, or they don't fit properly, or they don't necessarily have cartridge inserts to change them out. The word is out that people ought to be using filtered water. This is going to complicate that tonight. What's your sense of the compliance rate in terms of people actually using filters despite the advice?
I think it's gotten better, but you'll remember it was just about a week ago when we were in Flint reporting the fact that many fire stations had run out of filters. So, you know, the governor has stepped up those efforts, more National Guard members on the ground. There are more filters available. But just a few weeks ago, people were making their way to fire stations all over the city. And for some people, it's difficult. They walk to these fire stations. They take the bus. Some are lucky enough to have a vehicle. And they would get up there and find out that there was no water and no filter available. So I think for some people who have been dealing with this situation for more than a year, they figured, well, if I'm not going to get a filter when I go up to the fire station, what's the point? The warnings have been put out there. People understand that it is important. And today, I really think that that was the key moment for the mayor today to say, listen, if you are not using a filter, please do, but understand that we really want you to test your water because of these alarming test results. Everybody has to be on the same page now.
And again, I think this is a very important point there in terms of what you were just describing there about the logistics of getting down to the fire station and collecting these things. They are telling people, even if you've got a filter, don't drink the water through the filter unless you've had lead testing in your home. In order to get lead testing in your home, they're still telling people, so that means get yourself down to the fire station, get a lead testing kit from the fire station, bring it home, get the sample, bring the sample back to the fire station, then you'll be contacted in 3 days. I mean, that asking people to do that logistically, instead of just sending around trucks to do lead testing in house after house after house, is still a big logistical ask, which is going to mean a lot of houses don't get tested.
True. I mean, it's a huge problem. They've finally been able to get water from the fire stations out into the neighborhoods because some of these people are seniors. And again, some people don't have transportation to make their way to the fire station. So you have to figure out a better plan to make sure that we are testing everybody's water. When we see numbers like this and understand that there are some homes where the filter is just not going to do anything to help these people, we have to have a better understanding of what the lead levels are in every single home in Flint. And I think that has to be done before they can really decide how they're going to tackle the problem.
Yeah, and it has to be done in a door-to-door way. It can't be asking people to take responsibility for doing. It's incredible. Hank Winchester, correspondent for WDIV in Detroit. Thanks for your reporting on this, Hank. It's nice to see you. Appreciate it.
Rachel, good to see you too. We look forward to seeing you back in Flint soon.
I have a feeling I'm going to be back sooner than I thought I would. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Hank. We've got more on this story and much more. Stay ahead.